and welcome back to Off Track, the motorcycle racing podcast, our fourth live session. And fresh from his, not from your stag do, but fresh from a stag do down in Benidorm.
Wouldn't use the word fresh and stag do in the same sentence.
I'm picking you up, mate. You look anything but fresh.
Tired. I'm broken. I'm back to reality today. I tell you, it's been a battle. It's been a big battle.
But as always, ladies and gentlemen, the 2023 Quattro Plant British Supersport champion, Ben Curry. Hey, mate. How are you?
Issues this week, mate. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. We're everything's running pretty smooth considering I can't string a sentence together all day. So it's not too bad. It's not too bad. Now I've got to do a live. I think I've cancelled so many lives now that I thought I've just got to do this live. Like I can't tell you I can't do it tomorrow last minute. So we changed it today, but we're here. This is
it's fine. We just remind everyone that we can that the Braden Elliott podcast went out at 5:30, but we've got this live as well, which is always pretty cool. So I enjoy doing these with you, mate, very much. They're good fun to do, and we'll start off with settling a bet.
50p.
Gosh. Yeah, mate.
You won the bet.
I did.
Yeah. Do you want me to send
PayPal's fine.
Mail? How do you want to receive the 50p?
PayPal's fine.
PayPal, okay. We'll do that. It's going to cost me more in charges than the bloody bet.
No. Hey, up, Turley's on board. Good evening, everybody. We'd try and reply to everybody individually. We'd be here all night. But it's great to have everybody on board. Thank you very much for joining us. Mate, how's life as the crown champion? How was the last round?
Yeah, it was good. I mean, the last round really didn't go to plan as such. Left nothing out there, that's for sure. Give it my all. Started it on, I think I started 27th on Saturday, which is just, I've never qualified lower than 27th or 27th, I don't think. Or maybe my early days in Stock 600 first time over here. But, man, it's been a long time since I've been that far back. But unfortunately didn't set a lap, which is crazy because we've been impeccably consistent all season. So to not even set a lap in qualifying was strange. We're all looking at each other in the garage like, what's this all about? There's like a weird feeling in the garage, just like we got the number one on the bike, but we're all a little bit pissed off here. Like, what the hell? But look, it's just one of them things. It's such a strange thing to happen. Sort of no warning at all, one of those things that, could just happen out of nowhere, basically. Just a bit of a malfunction with the gear lever. It just clean snapped on me. I mean, no one can really foresee that happening. I didn't crash to weaken it or anything. It's brand new. So it is what it is. Started 27th, and then obviously Saturday's race, the weather was just crazy. If you were down at Brands Hatch, it was like raining sun, and it rained at that awkward point of the day where it was like it's 2 hours away from the race, and it just lashed it down and then stopped, and the sun came out, and I thought, I just knew. I looked, I thought, we're going to have the most awkward conditions ever. I just know it. And sure enough, it was a complete tyre gamble. But I think ultimately everyone ended up being on intermediates. Anyone that was sort of had a shout of winning the race had intermediates on. So I took it as an opportunity, really, because I thought, starting that far back, if I could make something special happen from here, it would be in a race like this. Only problem we had was because we went on intermediates, the dry line was quite thin. So passing was at the start was a little bit slow because I had so many bikes fanned out across the track that it was super hard to sort of send it up the inside. But
which you did regularly into Graham Hill Bend. We were watching from the back of the paddock, and just watching you into that left-hander was just like, here we go. Here's another 3 that he's gone past.
Yeah, I think I did about 7 on one lap, I think, at one point there in the race. But it was crazy race. I was so far back by the time the first lap finished. I thought, well, this is not good. But I managed to finish sixth.
Yeah.
Which, to be honest with you, felt like a podium. I set the fastest lap of the race coming through the pack, which ultimately was the task ahead, to have the strongest position and get a good lap in for the next race, which put me on pole. So I knew we could finish in style. And that's what I tried to do. Unfortunately, ended up in the kitty litter. I probably had the wrong attitude. The wrong attitude to win the championship, but luckily enough, we'd already done that. So, it didn't really matter in that sense. But I went out there and I tried to destroy everyone, and that was literally the goal for me was to win the race, but I wanted to win it really, really convincingly. So, I think on lap 12, I set best sectors of the race, pulling away, got a 3-second lead, and I'm still setting PB sectors. But unfortunately, just made a little mistake. Didn't feel like I'd done much wrong. It was one of them crashes where it wasn't like a wide, stupid crash. It was just like one of them, just on the limit, and that's probably why I was 3 seconds ahead. Because I was probably pushing the envelope. So, lesson learned. I was devoed because I thought, you're an idiot. I wanted to win the last race of the season and have the most wins out of any rider. But then at the same time, how can I expect to be angry at myself when I was had no respect for the race at all, when I was just trying to destroy everyone? So lesson learned, you can't ride on those emotions, but it's a good little lesson to have when it doesn't mean anything. So I can go into next season and just remember that one, that what I did this season was very much the way to go about it. Consistently, smart, calculated. So, that was my weekend. The weekend really got going on Sunday night, to be fair. That was the hardest part.
At least you bookended the season in the kitty litter and then avoided it for the rest of the season. So you didn't do bad,
Yeah, trashed the boss's bike and then trashed his hospitality that evening. I don't know if I've got a contract for next year yet.
I've seen the pictures, mate. Unfortunately, we couldn't hang around for it, but by all accounts, you gave it your best shot. Just good evening, Chris Simcoe, or good afternoon as it is to you in Virginia. We're global tonight, Chief.
Yeah, this is it now. We're branching out, so
this is it. I've got a question for you that's come through already. What drives you to do better and keep going when things get tough? Great question.
Ooh, do you know, that's obviously
just what you need after a week in Benidorm and a hangover to answer some really deep questions.
I apply the same attitude in everything I do in life. When I've got that hangover on the day 2 of the stag do, I look myself in the mirror and I say, this is not you. You got to get back on the horse and you got to keep on charging. So to be fair, Benidorm is a lesson. There's always a lesson to take out of life, and Benidorm was one of them. Probably never go back to that place, to be honest, but I got invited to a stag do in Benidorm, so we'll notch it off as an experience. But in all jokes aside, obviously I've been through tough times. It's well documented. Don't want to keep harping on about it, but I guess I've come so far in my career and I've had so many ups and downs that I'm kind of happy. I don't mind them. I'm almost happy to accept that tough times are going to happen. I've been in this game over here now for 10 years, and obviously I've been racing since I was young. So I've probably been racing 20 or plus years of racing motorcycles. And I appreciate there's a lot more harder times than there is good times. So I think it's about just accepting it, and then breaking it down and looking forward incrementally, and not getting frustrated or sort of throwing your toys out the pram and saying that poor me. So I think always having the goal to want to do better, but also I'm quite the type of person, hence why I crashed on Sunday, that I like to not prove people wrong, but I like to almost have people look at me with this. Well, not like people to look at me this way, but when people look at me in a way that they think, oh, he's struggling. I mean? Oh, this is going to be tough to come back from. This will test him. I almost use that as motivation, and I've been using that all year. And I kind of I'm that stubborn that I almost just want to prove to people that it's never over. I'm never going to quit. So if I ever finish racing, it's because I've decided to finish racing, not because I wasn't good enough or an injury or like an injury that I could potentially get back from and you know, be healthy again. So yeah, it's just stubbornness, I guess, and the never want to quit attitude.
It's being an Aussie.
Yeah, well, that's it. I've come all this way. I'm not just gonna fly back or paddle back in my boat because I can't afford the bloody flight tickets.
Yeah, you do what it is. It's sink or swim, isn't it? And it's now that you wear the crown of British Supersport champion at last. Not through lack of trying, mate, but
Yeah.
finally you did it. What's next year? What are we defending it? Are we stepping up? What do we know?
Yeah, at the moment, like nothing's 100% confirmed. Very much made my intentions clear. Teams made their intentions clear. Hopefully, we can get some stuff sorted out pretty soon. But there's no rush. Like we've just finished the most successful season of my career. The team's just finished one of their most successful seasons. First time in Supersport. You know, it's been good. It's time to sit back, reflect, relax. And think about the future, what I want, what the team wants, and yeah, see what happens. But look, I'm ready. Like as far as I'm concerned, today was the first day of like the 2024 season where okay, I wasn't in the gym training and I feel like absolute death, but I have this mentality now where it's like, okay, cool, that's done now. We've enjoyed that. We've had some fun time. Um, Now it's time to get head in the game. Start working through the plan. That starts from the bottom. That starts with sponsorship. Brand deals, whether it's leathers, helmets, etc. Practicing, camps coming up, training camps, practice, bike, all these little things. My training plan, my diet plan, all the stuff, starting to get it in place, get it ready for when I want to click the switch at the exact moment that we think is best, and then get after it. So yeah, I'm excited. I really enjoyed myself today, and it's been good because my mind has not been on next year one bit. But I think I've done enough in the last week to last me for a long time of thinking about this year. So yeah, I'm excited now. I'm looking forward.
I'm glad you've managed to switch off as well because you get so many riders that will go, right, what's next? What's next? What's next? But having that downtime, whether it's a week or 2 weeks, whatever, so important just for mental health and relaxing and decompressing from the season.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know anyone. Well, I do actually. I know one person, win the championship and get in the gym the next day. But you know, it's like you say, it's mental health. It's the pure what would you call it? Like stress and anxiety of a
Yeah.
championship season where every move that you make is so crucial that it's not like you're going from week to week. You're going from race to race. So your race finishes on a Sunday and it starts again in 3 weeks' time. But every day in between them is so anxious about that next event. So it's like never really a day where you can switch clean off for the whole season. So
No,
it's,
I would expect that completely
yeah,
because
so
it's what you do. It's your life. It's same for any racer, and especially one that's going for a championship. You can't afford to be distracted by other things. That's been your life's focus to become a motorcycle British champion,
yeah,
and
really.
now you've done it. Now you want to go and do it again.
Yeah.
So you're not going to rest on your laurels now. It's understandable that the season starts again. Tomorrow.
Mm. Yeah, and I guess it's like anything in life, but in particular, like a business owner. That I heard something on. I listened to this thing on social media the other day. I think it was Dana White from the UFC, where he said, that he doesn't get people that say, "Oh, I work for myself now because I want to choose my own hours," and he said it in such a good way that he says, "When you work for yourself, you don't get to choose when you work. You're always working." He says you don't get to choose your hours because there is no set hours. You work 7 days a week for the goal. Even when you think you're potentially not doing something specifically, to do with work. It will be something to help fuel your work in some way. So there's no days off. And, people that, work 9 to 5, say for a company, they can, sometimes afford to turn the switch off on, say, a Saturday and a Sunday, enjoy it, and come back to work on a Monday and restart. And that's not saying that that's more of a lesser field, but it's just so mentally taxing, a race season from start to finish for everyone involved. Like all the way, the team owner, for instance, never ever switches off and always trying to work hard. So it's nice to have this week where you can literally switch off. Even then, it was tough a little bit because you got one eye on emails and you're checking some stuff, and it's tough in that sense. But it's super rewarding, let's say. But now I've got this shitstorm that I have to clean up when I'm back. A week out of the loop, and I tell you, it feels like you've left Earth and you've gone to the moon and you come back, and it's just a completely different place. But no, it's all good.
Yeah, you're allowed it, mate. Nobody will begrudge you that. And then I think are you heading back to Oz after Christmas?
Yeah, I think the plan is I'm actually just making a plan as we speak. To be honest, I was just talking to a mate and trying to work out some stuff with when you would like to do some training and stuff, and maybe go maybe head over to Spain or something like that. But then I got to factor in also. I want to make a trip back to Australia. I think it's important for me to go back to Australia for a period of time. It's a long time over here in between seeing, my family and stuff like that. So I think it's important to go back there. So I've got to factor that in, and maybe with the season starting a little bit later as well, it might be worth going over there a little bit later. I'm definitely doing Christmas here. I've got a wedding and stuff coming up, hence the stag do. So I'll do all that sort of stuff. My mum's going to come and enjoy a winter Christmas over here. My dad's just been over here for the last round. So I'll do this little winter period. I'll work my butt off, and then maybe go over end of January or something like that, enjoy a month or so before the season really kicks off.
Good, well, you've got plenty to look forward to. And we've got to try and get some shows in at the same time where we're actually together side by side with somebody.
Yeah. 100%, we need to do that. We need to have a good winter with that, to be fair. And
we will, mate. We will.
Yeah, we will. 100%.
You're on there now with as British Supersport champion on all the headers. So, we're proud of you, dude.
No, I appreciate it.
A couple of questions that are coming in. As Jennifer's feverishly replying and doing the questions behind the camera. Do you expect to be more Ducatis in Supersport next season? Give you a bit more of a run for your money, maybe?
Yeah.
Not that you had it easy this year, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I can't ride the Ducatis for them, but there'll be definitely more. There'll be definitely more Ducatis out there. I'm pretty certain of that. People are gearing up. Obviously, I mean, James Hayden alluded to it. I won the championship. Must be the best bike. So you know what I mean. You know how racing works, don't you? So
100%. Everybody wants what the winner's got.
Everyone wants what the winner's got. So great business for Ducati. Great business for Wilf. So yeah, come on down and buy the Ducati.
If you think you can have a go, come and join in. See how you get on.
Yeah, and I mean it's a given, isn't it? You buy the Ducati, you're obviously gonna do exactly what I've done on it. So yeah, no.
Does it not come with guaranteed podiums straight out the box?
Yeah, of course it does. Of course it does.
You're such a salesman. You just pedal it round. The bike does all the work.
Yeah. No, it's all fun and games, isn't it? The racing game, but
of course it is.
I think we'll see a lot of. I think we'll see some more Ducatis. We have to remember there's like 15 plus Ducatis on the grid. I think that's sort of understated a little bit. You know what I mean? Because I've been out in front, and all the focus has been on the bikes that are out in front. But there's actually a lot of Ducatis on the grid already. So it does show that it's not, it's not a given. You get on a Ducati and all of a sudden you're right at the front. It's just not how it works. I mean, Luke Jones is an absolute class. rider in super sport for many years, multiple
Absolutely.
race winner, so a very highly regarded motorcycle rider. Used to ride Triumphs, very fast, won races on Triumphs. And he's on a Ducati, and he's at the front, but it wasn't me and him clearing off into the distance every weekend, was it? So, and we're talking about a very highly skilled motorcycle rider in Luke Jones. So, people need to expect to work hard at it still. No matter what bike you've got, there's so many good riders at the front that nothing's a given. Next season I could finish 5th in the championship, because the reality is there's plenty of good riders there to dethrone me, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of more coming into it as well. There's rumours of some serious teams running some bikes. So with serious teams running bikes, that means serious riders. So I'm looking forward to it.
Keep you interested, mate.
Yeah, that's it. It makes me work hard in the winter.
Who wants an easy season?
Well, the thing is, nothing's given to you for free. So
Of course it's not.
you just need to expect the absolute worst case, and that's how I'm going to treat it. I'm going to go into the winter with the same mindset that I've got the confidence. I know I can do it. Doesn't mean I can, that I'm just going to do it again. So got to keep working.
The bit that I love is that after all the efforts that you've made for it over the years, is that now you've done it. So now you know you can do it.
Yeah. I mean, I always knew I could do it, but
you know what I mean. You know now that you can put it all together.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing like actually doing something. You know what I mean? When you actually go, yeah, you can visualize it all you want, but I knew I could do it. And like you say, it took longer than what I would have liked, but most people would have given up 3 times. That's the way I see it. I see it as an even bigger accomplishment, because all the different hurdles that I've went through would have spat people out, or not all of them, but a lot of people spat them out, because it takes a different type of person to keep coming back all the time. If you haven't won it once, or you've come close once, that's a bitter pill to swallow. Nearly do it a second time, that's an even bigger pill to swallow. And a third and a fourth, well, that really sucks. That really sucks. It's like, am I ever going to do this? This really hurts. Like, it hurts to fall off. I train my ass off. Will I ever do it? And sometimes you just have to reshape a few things, restart, come in with a different mindset, new team, new surroundings, and then you can achieve great things. So, yeah, I think it's a bigger achievement than rocking in with all this talent, getting on the best bike, winning it first time round, and then buggering off. So, I'm happy.
Absolutely. We've got some fabulous comments coming through and some fabulous questions, mate. Have you got any failed celebration stories?
Failed?
Yeah, where you've won a race and you've failed, or you I don't know, maybe, or should I ask Kirsty if you've had any failed celebration stories?
I can't really think of like flipping a wheelie or something like that, maybe the odd burnout that just wouldn't spin for whatever reason. I'm pretty sure I saw Glenn try and do a burnout not too long ago, and the thing just had too much grip and it just wouldn't spin. And I thought, oh, you poor bugger. But
I will do, or then you can do the Brooksy one at Thruxton where it goes sideways and he has to pick it up.
Yeah, that was funny, wasn't it? But I've never really had that any sort of failed. Nah, wouldn't say that.
How much notice did you take of what was going on in the superbikes? How much while you're doing your own job over the weekend?
I was watching a lot. Obviously, I watched Christian with a close eye because he's my teammate. But I was looking at it, and I was just so intrigued about it all. Like I couldn't take my eyes off it, to be honest. Kyle Wright absolutely turned up on the weekend. He was incredible, I have to say. That's the best I've seen him ride. Did he win a race?
Yeah, he won the first one on Saturday.
He won the first one. He's probably won more convincingly in the season, like Donington Park, but that weekend showed actually just like how good he is. And when he's got that bit between his ears sorted out, and he's got his bike working absolutely brilliant, he is probably one of the best riders on the grid. No question. No question. I think next year we'll see a different Kyle, because that, like, he arrived at the start of the year, he went away, and then he came back when Kyle comes back, another bit of belief. He's done it before in his career.
Yeah.
When Kyle comes back, it's like another lesson. He's a young kid. Like, it's another lesson for him, and it's that bit more of experience. And I think now that he's done a whole season, start to finish at the front, he'll come back next year with a different set of beliefs. So
Another piece in the jigsaw, isn't it? He knows he can do it now. So what is he? He's 26.
yeah, I mean, he's a couple of years younger than me. We've grown up racing a lot over the years. Yeah, and I always knew he was like an exceptional talent, like Brad Ray, for instance, racing those two guys. You always knew that they had little something that that other people may potentially not have. But with Kyle, it was always just in his head. Undoubtedly one of the best riders. So now I feel like he's got a whole winter to stew on that excellent performance. That I think the winter will just spur him on for next year now, and you're not eating that next to me. She's just. Are you serious?
Go on, what is it? What you got, Kirsty?
I'm showing everyone what you're eating. This is disgusting.
It's a crisp sandwich.
Yeah.
Whatever fills the gap, Kirsty. Whatever fills the gap.
Not next to me. Oh God. But yeah, I'm cramping up, Dave. Damn it. I'll tell you, it's good to be healthy. Cherish your health while you have it. I promise you.
Not eating crisp sandwiches, no?
Yeah, but yeah. So Kyle obviously was exceptional on the weekend, but the only problem we had was there was two unbelievable Ducatis that were fighting for the championship, and there was no way in the world that anyone was getting in between Bridewell and Glenn Irwin, and that's what we saw really. I think Glenn was exceptional. He threw absolutely everything at it. I think Bridewell was the faster rider over the course of the weekend. I think he knew that, but we knew Glenn would have that absolute dog in him to, you're not coming past me, no matter what. And yeah, he did an exceptional job. But unfortunately, half a point, like, come on. That's insane.
He did everything he could. Like you say, he did everything he could. And especially, I thought he was really clever in race 3 when he was watching the TV screens, and he wasn't dirty with Tommy, but that pass into Sterling's in race 3 when he ran him wide, looking at him, that's just racecraft. That's not dirty. That's a championship. No contact. Nobody fell off.
He's not a dirty rider, Glenn.
No.
Like, he's just got that dog mentality where he just believes so much in himself, which is what you need. You need to have that.
Of course you do. It's a team sport, but your individual's out on track.
Yeah, when push comes to shove, it's on you, and you had two exceptional riders riding two exceptional bikes, and they finished half a point apart. Like, who's writing the script? This is insane. You know what I mean? But
one of the best seasons ever. Even 2011 was fantastic, and there's been some great seasons in between. Leon's championship, Leon's capitulation in the championship the year before. There's always so much drama goes on, but this was just off the charts. I was so proud of everybody. That weekend was just so incredible, and it was one point I could feel my heart beating in my chest, and genuinely I didn't care who won it. As I said before, my head said Tommy, my heart said Kyle, and that's just from being mates with him, and it was incredible. I thought Ryan Vickers rode incredibly well. I saw the comment just go through earlier. I thought Ryan was fantastic. They're both going to be a force to be reckoned with next season, and they're going to push each other on. That obviously the switch to buy turbo, and then they get the factory support for next season as well. Dude, they're going to be mint.
Yeah, I think Ryan's learnt a lot as well this year. Undoubtedly insanely fast. Like, the kid's fast, but he's always had a tentative to get off the thing. And it's no secret, what I mean? People talk about it. He's a gamble for teams because he crashes. But it's because the kid lays it on the line no matter what, if the bike's working or not. And you've got to show that recognition to that, because that's what, if I'm a team owner, I'm thinking, well, I want my guy to turn up no matter what. If the bike's not right, you have to ride it, and you got to ride it fast. So he learned that this season isn't about doing that every single lap, every race. He's had opportunities to win this year, and he's ruined it, or he's ruined a podium position because he's just not without speaking out of turn. What's the right word? Like giving in.
Concentration.
Yeah, just not giving in. Just never back down attitude. Just push, 100% every single lap. So it's to win a championship. It's a lot more than that. You have to obviously, you have to take a 5th place or a 4th place. I mean, it's no secret. Everyone knows that. But when you're in the race, it's hard to remind yourself that and tell yourself that. So I think next year he'll be a lot more regular at the front because he's undoubtedly got the speed. Who do I think is going to win out of him and Kyle? I'm not sure. They're both so incredibly fast. One weekend, Kyle will smoke Kyle will smoke Ryan, and then vice versa the next weekend. So that's quite interesting. And I know Ryan's good at tracks that maybe Kyle's not as good at. So OMG have got a great team there. They're going to be at the front again. So it's a great pair of signings for sure.
Yeah, I think you cock on, mate, as always. I think Kyle will look back that DNF at Donington at round 3 when he crashed out at Redgate, and then that dip that was kind of Snetterton, Cadwell, Thruxton.
Yeah, went missing.
He just went missing for 9 races. When you think what the points difference could have been.
Yeah, and again, it's
he knows where. That's your self-analyzing, isn't it? At the end of the season, you look back and you don't beat yourself up on it, but you know where you lost out, and you know what to do then for next season to make that different.
Yeah, it's not a secret. It's in the public eye. The results are there. We're only talking about the facts, and he'll know that. He'll be sitting there, kicking himself. But again, it's another lesson for him. So it's only going to make him better for next year.
Agreed. A question that's come through as well. Why aren't there any Superstock Ducatis?
I think it might be the price cap, or is it the V4?
Price cap makes sense.
I think it might be the price cap. I think so.
I've just seen it. It's gone through. I thought there was a reply went through earlier on. I didn't see that one.
Yeah, I think it might be the price cap. To be fair, the V4,
it makes sense because they're not cheap.
Yeah, might be the price cap, or maybe too many CC. I'm not sure, honestly. I don't know. Because Superstock is the word.
It pretty works out that with 1100, doesn't it? They just change it to Motec Electronics.
Right. Well, then it must be the price cap.
Yeah, it'd be the price cap.
But then the Aprilia would fall under that category, no? I don't know, honestly. I'm just guessing.
No trick questions, mate. Yeah. How do you think the points have gone this year? The 22, 20, and then 25, and then 35, and 900 for a win, and 350 for finishing second, and all that stuff?
Yeah, I don't think it's made a difference, has it? The reality is it's been an incredible season. 35
better than the actual showdown of knocking people out after 7 rounds.
So it's a genuine championship. When I say it's a genuine championship, it's like more traditional than a showdown. A showdown is a entertainment. It's a pay-per-view boxing match. Do you know what I mean? It's like, right, all you did this year is, don't worry about that. We're going to put it back to zero, and now we're going to put the TV show on. And I get it. I get why you do it. But as a traditionalist, I think obviously the traditional point scoring method is the best way, because normally the best rider wins no matter what.
Exactly.
The cream will always rise over the long term.
When every race counts as well, doesn't it? Because I always felt like in the showdown that it was a little bit after you, Claude.
It was,
then there was so much pressure.
Yeah.
In the final 9 races that not just on the riders but the crews as well, and the families.
Every race, you can't have mechanicals. You can't.
No.
It's almost cagey. I saw a different. So normally showdown works. You'll have a few riders that will come on strong at the end of the season or something like that. They'll be just taking points. They'll cruise into the showdown, and next thing, bosh, they're a championship title contender. But what we saw all the best riders perform from day one because they had to. There was no if, buts, or mate. There was no let's experiment on a setting. Let's we need to extract the maximum amount of points in each race. So I liked it because it brought a whole nother element. In the past, we've had a crash, and it's like, who cares, mate? You know what I mean? Doesn't matter really. You've lost 3 points. You lost 3 podium points. Who
Yeah,
cares?
that's
You'll
that's
get
the bottom of the
back.
line, wasn't it? That's what they lost. They didn't lose 25 race points. It
Yeah,
was
no one,
five.
no
It
one
was
cares.
5 points.
There was no. It didn't have that. Like how much it actually mattered each single race. So it was actually a spectacle all the way through. Where in the past, BSB was no point turning it on until the last 3 rounds. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
BSB have actually given themselves an even bigger and better show, and you can't fault them for doing what they've done because every championship's had a whitewash or two in their lifetime. So no one wants
Sometimes that just happens, doesn't it? They've closed as many loopholes as they can to make it as entertaining and as close as possible. I've just seen Tomo pop in on the comments, who was working with Leon in 17 and 18, and Affinity and lots of other teams, because he's knocking on a bit now. We know that. Who would have won the championship under the old showdown points? That's quite. I'm gonna have to have a look at that. I'll drop you a message, Tom. I'll work that one out
I'll have a guess.
because that'd be quite interesting if it was last year's rules for this year's championships. Who would have won the title?
I'll have a guess. And oh god,
That's a really good question, that, isn't it?
Kyle.
I think it might have been.
Could have been Kyle, you know. Glenn's got a good chance.
Maybe who was the strongest in the last 9 races?
Glenn won a lot.
Glenn was, wasn't he?
Yeah, Glenn won a lot.
But it was who got the points before Hector. Was he even there this year?
Tomo loves Hector after working with him for a whole year. He absolutely loves him.
It's an affinity to him. God bless him. Yeah, that is going to take a little bit of working out, Maggie. You're not wrong. Who do you think dark horses are for next year, dude?
Oh, dark horse. I think Kyle. Like, I think Kyle is the dark horse to win the championship. Is that a dark horse? I don't know, but I know he come close. But really, not everyone's a dark horse apart from Glenn and Tommy when you think about it, because it was dominant, wasn't it? Really, apart from the mishaps that happened at Donington, like it was pretty smooth sailing for him the whole time through. So I think Kyle.
I'll give you one.
Go on,
Danny Kent.
Okay.
The Martrain team with Spanner and Paul Morton and the team that are going there, with his corner speed and how he rode the smaller bikes, I genuinely think he'll be a threat next season.
Okay. Yeah.
On that Martrain bike. I still feel for Jack Kennedy, no question at all. I'm still disappointed that he's not got a ride there yet. But yeah, I mean, that's the second time I've seen Leon's name pop up. You know Leon better than anybody, apart from probably Tomo. Tough year for him. That DNF at Donington, basically, that shattered his season.
I mean, the reality is with Leon, you go and chuck him on that PBM bike, and he'll be racing for the championship without a doubt. The fact of the matter is he's running his own team. So he's not just turning up on a race weekend and racing the bike. He's managing and running the whole team. He's paying the bills. He's hiring the staff. He's feeding the blokes. That's insane.
And to battle for a championship as well. It's not like he's just riding around making up the numbers.
First year battle for a championship on a BMW. You know what I mean? He's never ridden a BMW. Well, he has ridden a BMW. I mean, he hasn't. He's just got on the BMW this season. It's completely his own team. Like I remember him in pre-season, sitting there for coffee with him, talking about what he was organising. I'm like, what? Surely you have somebody to do that for you. He's doing it himself. He's he's cleaning the truck on a Tuesday. You know, he's packing it, getting it ready to go to Snap for a test. And
Mate, if he's cleaning the truck on the Tuesday, he needs a really long pole or some long steps.
yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure he has. Yeah,
Or
but
steps.
you know, that's it. That's the reality. I mean, it must have been that hard. Tomo jacked it in halfway through. You know what I mean? If it wasn't for Tomo, you know, Leon probably would have won the championship. Because, you know, Tomo buggered off to the other man. He thought, nah, this ain't for me. You know what I mean? When the going gets going, the men stand up.
Maybe Tomo will join us on a live one night. That'd be quite fun, especially for the ladies and gentlemen that are watching him now.
Yeah.
That'd be really good fun. Little bit of consternation at the end of the Superstock race. Have you missed that this week while you've been like hiding under your little rock?
You know what? I found that out. Like, yeah, I got messaged that. Someone sent me a screenshot of the appeal or something like that. What does that mean for the championship? Does that mean that potentially
it means the results are provisional still?
So does that mean there's potentially a different champion?
Yes, because I mean, from what I remember of what's happened this week, there was something spotted in Parc Fermé on Linny's bike that shouldn't have been there, or it was a version of something. It shouldn't have been that version. It was an aftermarket, I guess.
Yeah, I believe it's a master cylinder or something.
Yeah, I believe. Yeah, something to do with the rear brake master, one of the master cylinders, anyway. And the protest was lodged, but it was outside of the allotted time.
Okay.
So the technical guys couldn't do anything about it. It was outside of the time. But I've since seen something from the MCRCB that they're putting something together. Thank you, Dan. No, we're getting some messages through now. Non-standard front brake master cylinder.
From Darren Massey, I wouldn't take that gospel.
No, but regrettably, he's right. But now the MCRCB are getting involved, and so now the bottom of that appeal says that all results remain. What did it say? It was provisional. So because Richard beat Dan on Saturday when Linny had that big slide coming through Clearways to the line. Ben Luxton watching on.
Eyes are out. There's obviously something going on. Let's get the word. We need the word from. We need the ground. We need the eyes and ears from inside the championship.
Yeah, we do. If anybody was there and could tell us
Come
a
on,
little
you
bit
little
more.
grass. Tell us what happened.
But yeah, what was it? Ben maybe knows what was going on a little bit more. But yeah, it seems that that the results are provisional until the outcome of this hearing, and if they do decide to exclude Dan from the results, that makes Richard Kerr champion.
Talk about drama. Wouldn't that be? Wow. Really?
Yeah.
So, wow. Could you imagine that? Would you? Okay, from master cylinder. So I'm guessing he's been running it all season, right?
Well, I don't know.
What's that?
That's difficult to say.
Champ. Okay, he's assuming as well.
Yeah, no, it was. That's exactly why they're protesting it, because Linny had to win and didn't have to win the race, but because Richard beat him on the Saturday, that's what made it that Linny had to do it again on the Sunday, because he could have won it. If he'd have beaten him on the Saturday, it wouldn't have mattered.
Right.
So I don't know the story behind it. I don't know the whys and the wherefores, but it's big.
That's heavy.
The one thing that did disappoint me is that it went on social media.
I mean, you've got to put it to the people. Like, you know, if you've got any sort of doubt, Facebook would sort it out. You know what I mean? That's what I say.
It did, and then it was promptly removed.
Oh God!
Not until there was a few screenshots of it and a few shares to like the BSB forum and places like that.
Yeah, Kirsty's saying, "I saw it." You know what I mean? The eyes and ears of the world.
So yeah, that sort of casts a cloud over Linney's championship, unfortunately.
It's a shame,
because,
really, because Linny's
of
been
course, it
good all
is.
season, hasn't he? And you know,
But
right
to be
from the
fair to the
wrong.
team statement, they were very complimentary of Linney, of how he'd ridden, because he's been superb this year, as has Richard Kerr. So it's Ben looks he's not involved. It's one of those, isn't it? It is. You're right, Dave. It's trial by social media, and it makes it very difficult. But everything else was nicely squared away. But just when that came out, you're like, oh, seriously,
Right, there's a couple of messages here. I'm just taking note of this.
go for it.
He said it didn't. Craig Lowe said, didn't he get done for it earlier in the season?
Good
That's
question. I don't know.
that's interesting, isn't it? Like, if it's happened once, and now it's happened again. Well,
Once is unfortunate, twice is careless.
you're gonna have to be gonna have to be held accountable. And the very next message is a good point. Linney deserves it. How the hell is a front master cylinder going to make the difference in the way the championship winner will be changed? And I get that comment, because it does seem like such a small thing, right? But the reality is, if he's done it for the second time, he's obviously deemed it as enough of an advantage to want to risk that. Now that's my opinion. That's
Well, this is why they were very careful not to point the finger at Dan.
Okay. So
he'd ridden so well, it was pointing at the teams, and this is where
rules are rules, right?
That's exactly what I was just about to say. The bottom line is rules, and that's why they're there. Otherwise, it's always been stock racing's always been a nefarious little affair anyway. But they've tried to close every loophole as and when it appears to make the racing as close as possible. But yeah, rules is rules. So, and we don't know whether Dan would have known about it or not. I genuinely don't know.
It would be a colossal shame to see Dan's championship be stripped off him, no doubt whatsoever. But
then Tomo makes a good point there. It wasn't Dan that put the part on, so would you not fine the team instead, or does that then devalue the championship?
No,
because the bike ran an illegal part, didn't it?
Yeah, no, you can't do that. Like, that's important. That's that the team won the championship as much as Dan Linfoot won the championship. So, you can't do that. But yeah, it's obviously put a sort of a dark cloud over, or dampened a little bit. Regardless what the outcome.
Even if it gets thrown out, it's still cast a.
Everyone's
like,
like,
a cloud.
well, did he win it? But the reality is he did win it. But it's like, yeah, but there's going to be that question mark, which is a shame, and it's a bit unfortunate for Dan, because, like you say, he rode his heart off this season. It's a new Dan Linfoot, and I guess no one really deserves it more than him. To be fair, he was fantastic. But I did hear some rumor, though. I will throw this in the hat just to stir some shit up. That apparently a couple of other bikes were spotted with doing similar things. So is this a known thing to be happening in the super sport paddock?
Sounds like it.
It sounds like maybe that this is quite an area. Like, I guess, how do you police that? I mean, they've got a sock over the master cylinder, right? So no one can see what master cylinder you're using. So they must be just risking it, which is crazy. But
next season they'll be banning the wristbands, because they look like the old toweling wristbands, don't they?
Yeah, well, it'll be like you come into Parc Fermé, your mechanic's got to take it off. So it'll probably be something like that, I guess, that gets enforced. But
is it a performance thing?
Yeah, obviously it's a performance thing. It's not.
But I don't know how much. I don't know that. I don't understand the technical side, so I don't know how much it would make a difference to what they do.
Well, I think if Brembo make the aftermarket part, they obviously make it for a reason. But I think it would obviously improve braking by some percent. I guess with the super stock machine.
And the standard brakes, aren't they?
Yeah, so with a super stock machine, you could potentially run into brake fade problems. So brake fade problem is a huge is a huge hindrance to a race bike. If you lose 2% of your braking, it changes your lap time massively. So standard stuff is not going to be as good. Like there's a reason why all the superbikes change all the brakes and from standard. So bigger discs, good brake lines, master cylinder, top to bottom, the braking systems change for a reason. So it's obviously given them some sort of benefit, but how much I'm not sure.
No, that was my question. Is obviously it has some kind of effect, but I didn't know on a percentage terms of how much. I don't know. But Tomo, like Tomo says, it's important. Braking just as important as acceleration.
Yeah, I mean, there could be some tech guys in here from the paddock that could speak up and tell us about how much maybe an aftermarket master cylinder would make a difference. But yeah, crazy. I'm looking forward to keeping an eye on that actually, because that's very interesting. Very interesting.
It is for it to come out and fair. If you're in the same position, you'd have gone, well, hang on a minute, and they've been clean all season. It does leave a bit of a bitter taste, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think it's funny because I made a joke to Wilf. We were both joking about it in the season. I said, like, we got the championship wrapped up, and I said, Wilf, is there a way we can maybe, I don't know, change the ECU and put my bike to full power for 1 FP, and I'll just go and smash a lap time out of the app to the absolute moon? Oh, like, it would be so funny. Not that it'll probably change much. I don't know how much it would change, but obviously I'm running at like 75% power, so that increase would be crazy. And we laughed and joked about it, but the reality is if we did that just for a laugh, it would completely dampen what the season that I had, because people go, well, hang on a minute, if he'd done it once, maybe he'd done it twice. I don't even think it's possible to do actually anyway, because we can't get into it.
You can't sow the seed, not in this sport.
No, I don't think we can actually even get into the relative place to change it anyway. But it was just a funny thing. But that's my point, is like, we can't unsee that now. Once that master cylinder thing has now cropped up, it obviously means there was an aftermarket master cylinder on the bike, regardless of the outcome. So it's a shame, really.
Have you seen what Ben just put? It's that word on the street. It stops the discs warping, which has been an issue for him.
Okay, right.
So that's an interesting one, and well done on Brands, Ben. It's good to see you up there, mate. You did a grand job.
Yeah, he rode good this season.
Yeah, he's done with a one-man team and starting in Dean White's living room. The boys have done a great job. So yeah, congratulations to you, Ben. It's been a good season, mate. It was Michael Jenner just popped up. Apparently, Bathams are running a seat in Superbike next season. Bathams are running a one-bike BSB team. Who's riding that? No idea at the minute.
Not sure, but one thing I will say is I did see some Bathans people looking at the Ducatis. So I don't know. I seen them sniffing around the garage looking at Ducatis. So might be on Ducatis. Who knows? Might even be a super sport bike.
It could be. With Rutter and John McAvoy as his right-hand man.
Yeah,
nosing around what's going on. And Michael, congratulations for Owen as well on his second British Championship.
Yeah,
tying up the Superstock. Good ride that.
Brilliant season. Proper talented rider as well. I think he's got a big future as long as he makes some good decisions now in the next few years. I think he could have a good future.
I think so too. Pathway bikes. What's your thoughts on those? Because they've sort of come in over the last sort of couple of rounds that we've not had a chance to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing exactly what they should be.
Devaluing Superstock, maybe?
Oh, it just destroys Superstock in a massive way. In a massive way. But I think that's okay for BSB. Like BSB, from what we understand with BSB is like, why would they have such a strong Superstock championship when they want the strongest Superbike championship, right? The bike's rival. The lap times are almost as fast. They've got slick tires. They've got trick Hondas. So why would Stewart want to have super stock so competitive when he could have all those best riders in super stock in the superbike class, where you've seen a superbike class that's maybe sort of declining a little bit with teams and funding. You've got teams leaving the championship, budget reason, for budget reasons or what have you, and that means less bikes on the grid, which means less of a spectacle. A strong field of bikes makes the entertainment better. So I can see Stewart creating this pathway superbike for maybe some of the best stock teams to step up. And then also definitely the best stock 1,000 riders to move immediately up on their, say, stock hybrid stock bike that they can now quite easily convert. And some young kids have maybe got that opportunity then to get superbike experience that they might not necessarily get. So it's for a championship perspective, I completely get it. In terms of the business, some people will completely be what's the word? Not for it, like against it, because, like you say, it not devalues, it kind of devalues the stock 1,000 championship in the end, because it probably won't have the best stock 1,000 riders in it. I know it's a sort of bad thing to say publicly, and it's not doing a disjustice to the super stock riders, because there's going to be brilliant stock 1,000 riders that haven't got the budget to do the pathway thing. So you're still going to see a high caliber of riders. It just might not be the depth that there always is. So, it hurts. It hurts the stock championship for sure. What's the plan for stock moving forward? I'm not confident that there is a huge plan for it. You look at stock 600, it's gone now. It's made way for sports bike and BMW cut these different types of bikes. So superbike and super sport has always been like the number 1 and 2 class, because it's like you've got your superbike class, and then you've got your superbike of the 600s, if you know what I mean, the 2 souped up bikes.
Well, there's only 3 classes that carry British standard, isn't there?
And it's a British championship, like
Superbike, Super Sport, and Talent Cup. Everything else is a national championship.
Exactly. So it's those 3 have always been the main attraction. And if you look on a Sunday, like they're in the main slot every single time. Stock 1,000 sometimes goes from the main slot out of that main slot, and vice versa. Although the last few years it's been sort of in the main slots, and they're all things that are hugely important to riders, their funding, their sponsorship, or even their pay by the team. At the end of the day, the team needs to make money. It's a business to run. So if it's not a business, the rider will have to pay for the privilege to race for the team. So that's why the stock classes are national championships, unfortunately. So that's just how it is. But that being said, like, it might be a really positive thing seeing the pathway guys, all them, the best stock 1,000 riders potentially going into the pathway bikes and doing the best job they can. But unfortunately, when they sign up to do that pathway thing, they're going to be battling, for 15th, 10th to 15th.
Which is not bad in any way, shape, or form, is it? That's pretty good.
Which is brilliant, but it's like taking a knife to a gunfight, right? You just wouldn't do it.
No, but they're going to have their own championship, aren't they? You would suspect there will be a pathway champion. You can only do it for a year, if I remember right.
Right. Okay. I don't know the ins and outs to it. But
I think you can ride for a year. Somebody will correct me on that one. I'm not 100% sure. But I think Stuart Wood was asking how many pathway bikes do we think they're going to be? I think there's going to be at least half a dozen, if not more, because we already know there's.
I think there'll be a lot more.
Do you think there'll be more than that?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm being conservative. I don't know. It's that Franco and Marvel will most likely step up on one. I suspect Joe Talbot will step up on one with Big Joe. I don't know if Big Joe's in and about, or he'll let us know maybe. But maybe OMG will run a Yamaha. It's not just, I mean, most of them were Hondas that were out, but there's Kawasaki. Every manufacturer can run one. Fraser Rogers, as I saw earlier on, somebody point out, was absolutely mint at brands on it.
Yeah, well,
It's
I
good
think
to see him back.
I think the beauty of that class is if you get a mixed conditions race or a wet race or something like that, potentially you could see a pathway bike win, right? There's actually that opportunity. And I mean,
Dave Greenslade pointing it out beautifully. Franco finished 6th in the wet at Donington.
yeah, well, there you go. That's perfect. You know what I mean?
It's a perfect example, isn't it?
And all of a sudden, then it boosts his pedigree, his worth. Like what's the word? Like his stock value goes
His
up.
value, yeah. It's
Yeah,
exactly that. It's his value, yeah.
He's in the main line. His name gets recognised, and he becomes a what would you call it, like a seasoned superbike rider. So yeah, I love it. I think it's great. I think it's great for the championship. Shame that Superstock's going to really hurt from it, but I think at the end, like always been the argument with BSB and the stock championships is like, why would we focus our effort on stock 1,000 when we want to focus our effort on the main attraction, which is Superbike? And I get that.
I'm sure I said we had the conversation at the weekend. I forget who it was with when we were down at Brands. That in 5 years' time there won't be a British super, or not, maybe 10 years' time there won't be a British Superbike Championship. It'll be an Adventure Bike Cup. We'll be running baggers we'll be running GSs and Ducatis, because when you look around, that's what's out on the road these days. We were up at, where were we at the weekend? Where did we see a load of
coming back from Bolton by Bowland?
Coming back from Bolton by Bowland, yeah. There's 6 or 8 bikes at the side of outside a cafe, all adventure bikes, and all blokes older than me.
Yeah, well, you probably won't be surprised when I tell you this, but if you look at the AMA with the Baggers Championship, that is like pretty much as big as the Superbike class, if not bigger. It's got the biggest budgets. You're talking like $1 million, $1 million to run one bike for like 4 rounds or whatever it was, 5 rounds, 6 rounds, whatever it is. Budget's astronomical. Harley Davidson.
So are the wages.
The wages that I'm hearing are coming from there. You know, there's any wonder Jeremy McWilliams is going over there.
I was just going to say that. McWilliams isn't going over there for free.
I mean, but what does that tell you? That just shows where there's money, where the money is, and it's in Harley Davidson, it's in Baggers, it's in
because that's what the manufacturers want to sell. So that's what if they put a championship together like that, and you think, especially over there, I don't know whether it would work out so much over here in terms of sales. I can't imagine a bagger going around Knock Hill.
But it's all relative to.
It's all relative, yeah. The Ducati Multistrada Cup with GSs thrown in as well.
Yeah, but unfortunately,
Transalps.
Unfortunately, you've got the other problem of emissions, where superbikes are. Oh God.
I'll not keep you much longer, mate. I can see you dropping off the end of
yeah,
this.
no, I'm okay. I've got this chest. But you're seeing with the superbikes, the championships, there's talk in MotoGP that the MotoGP bikes are going to be brought back down to 800cc or something like that.
Yeah.
The bikes are too powerful and all this sort of stuff. The super bikes are at the point now where they're way too powerful. No one's buying them for the road. When I say no one, obviously there's still people buying them, but not as much people are buying them for the road and stuff now. So, we're going to see probably championships change into less powerful motorcycles even in the future. And that's just, I think, how it is.
It's true. There's so much to go. I mean, it's all this buts and maybes and everything else, isn't it? Have you found out what's going on in MotoGP yet? Have you caught up with any of that, seeing as it was at Phillip Island and your fabulous Melbourne weather that you're quite used to at this time of year?
Yeah, I'm just crazy in at Melbourne. It's just, honestly, it's like it's the UK. It's the only bit that resembles the UK in Australia, where there's 4 seasons in one day. It could be 30 degrees and the next minute it's dropped to 20 and it's sideways rain and wind. And then it will brighten back up again and the temperature will go back up and it'll be too hot to go to bed at night. You'll need a fan and everything. Just absolutely bizarre. But yeah, I didn't get to see an absolute thing about it. I saw who won the race. which I'm over the moon for. And yeah, it was. I wish I watched it now actually. And the racing at Phillip Island is always incredible because it's one of them classic tracks where they just flow so good. I've read it before, and it just links up. There's a couple of big passing spots, but then fast corners. It creates close racing and action every single year.
It's not designed on a computer, is it?
No, well, it's not designed for a Formula One car. That's
the secret.
Yeah, so all those new tracks are for Formula One cars, and unfortunately, that just doesn't work for MotoGP bike as much. But that is going to be one of the traditional tracks that will live on forever.
It will do, mate. It will. And the mixed results for the Brits out there. Scott Ogden's bike kept cutting out. He didn't even qualify for the race.
Really?
So, yeah. But didn't put a lap in, I don't think at all weekend.
All weekend?
Bike kept cutting out. Even HRC technicians couldn't find out what was wrong with it. So he didn't do anything in FP1, didn't do anything in FP2, didn't get out in qualifying. So, qualifying, no race.
Wow. I've never heard
Exactly.
that before.
No, me neither. Not if even HRC can't understand what's going on with
Not
it.
that level,
No. Oh, gutted for Scott. Just incredible. But then on the flip side of that, the rain's a bit of a leveler, and Rory Skinner finished 12th in Moto2. Got his first points of his GP career.
Yeah, brilliant. And I mean, you can't help but think that Scott Ogden would have been having a chance there as well. In
His
those
conditions, without a doubt, especially on Sunday.
And I just want to give a shout out to my little buddy Joel Kelso. He just boshed it on the podium for these first
superb ride.
Podium. So I'm super happy with him. And another kid that's sort of come over here with the dream of racing GPs, done the CEV thing, and his mum doesn't have all the money in the world to pay for him to do it, and they've done it on a shoestring, and he's made it happen, which is incredible.
Oh, it was great, and he's got he's in Diogo. Whose team is not Diogo Moreira's team? He's in the BOE team, isn't he, for next year? So he's got a decent ride already. And
it was looking shaky there for a minute that he wasn't going to have a ride. So without going into too much detail on the stuff that was happening, it was, I feared that at one point, I don't think you'll mind now that he's signed. He said to me, he says, I might be in BSB next year racing you, so, that's where it was at the minute. So at that, middle point of the season. So great to see him get a podium, and even better to see him get another full year.
Exactly. Speaking of things that are shaky, I keep hearing rumours that Shaky's running a team next year. Have you heard anything?
I have. I've heard a couple of those rumours myself. So, yeah, super interesting. It'd be brilliant. Obviously with McCann's leaving, it'd be great to have another big team in the championship. So, fingers crossed, something happens.
I hope so, mate. I hope so. I'm going to let you go now, mate, because you look knackered.
Do I look that bad?
I mean, you don't look bad. You just look tired. It's like you've been on a stag do all weekend.
I'm just reading some of these messages. There was talk about my Dharma glasses at the last round. What's funny is, right, this is off topic and people are probably going to leave. Someone said, where's his Dharma glasses? So 12 months ago, I went to Brands Hatch after realising I wasn't going to race another race for the season. So I went down to support my mate Brad Ray when he won the championship. And we got into the party. And next thing you know, I had these Dharma glasses on. They were exactly like, I don't know where I got them from, but I took them off someone and I had them for the rest of the night. And it was just around the time that Dharma released, well, not Dharma, but, they released the Dharma documentary on Netflix. So it was kind of a bit weird, right? But anyway, I rocked them. And then literally 12 months on, I'm at the after party and these Dharma glasses appear on my face. By the way, I don't own Dharma glasses, and I don't even know who gave them to me, but someone gave me Dharma glasses and I wore them all night. Is that weird? That's weird.
Brilliant. That's class.
So
we were halfway home by the time that party started.
Yeah, I bet you were.
We'd done. That was it. That was enough for us, mate. Thank you. Always a pleasure. We'll get something lined up later this week of doing a couple of trips out and see what we can do, see what we can find, and we'll get Ben back on the show as a co-host that he's so very good at. But you've had a busy year, mate. We know that, and I know you got a bit of stick for it at Donington, but we'll get a few shows pitched in before you head over to Oz, and then get a couple in before the end of before the season kicks off again, which will be here before we know it. Seriously, it's like Halloween next week. It's bonfire night, then it's Christmas, and then you're away, and then you'll be back again. So just enjoy the downtime while you've got it.
Yeah, it's mad in it how quick the time goes. But brilliant. Hopefully we'll have some cool stuff coming out on the podcast, and maybe even a cool little place to shoot them from. That would be cool, wouldn't it? If we can.
It would. We'll keep updated about that. But also, maybe I don't know if you look more hungover than you did at Guadix. Did we not have that story with?
Oh
with
God!
Big
You
Jack?
don't want this story. You don't want this story. Did we have the? I don't know if we had the story on the podcast, did we?
Do you want to end it on that one?
I don't know what part of the story I'm allowed to talk about, to be honest.
All of it.
61 people here. There's still 61 people here, so not many people have left, to be fair. So they're obviously thinking, oh, hang on, cliffhanger. What's this story? Oh, Tomo. All right, we'll end it on this story. But I'm going to leave little chunks of it out. Actually, I don't even know what I'm allowed to say and what I'm not allowed to say. Don't know how illegal was that night. I'm not sure.
You're not allowed to leave any of it out.
Oh God! So basically, we set off to Guadix in was it November? Or I think it might have been the start of November. I just signed for the JG Speedfit Kawasaki team, which was the factory team at the time. I took Leon's. I didn't take it. I was on. Leon went to KRT World Superbike, and I got the ride on the Superbike after a good year in Supersport. And we went out there for a pre-season shakedown. And basically, the bikes came straight from Brands Hatch, straight, very, very illegal, straight to Guadix, and we got on the bike, 2-day test at Guadix, whole track, me and Glenn Irwin on our own, and we had the most fantastic test. Anyway, nothing to do with the test. Who cares about the test? We were flying. Spirits were up in the camp. We finished the season finally. Time to enjoy and relax, right? So we get in the hotel bar, obviously, and we started having a few Jack and Cokes, some of that Spanish ham, and we're having a giggle and a laugh. Everyone's in good spirits, and Glenn starts getting rowdy. I think when Glenn starts getting rowdy, everyone starts getting rowdy, and a bit of to and fro, a bit of banter, and anyway, it escalated. We got kicked out of there, so that's all right. It's a hotel. We probably shouldn't be in there. I don't think I could go on with this story. The more I think about it, I can't go on this story. Oh God, we've all done dumb things, in our youth, and I'm not proud of it, but
but it was an awful lot of fun.
I'm cracking up here. So Simon
the
Green
numbers are going back up now. You're telling this story.
Simon Green was the crew chief of Glenn at the time, and to be fair, I've been in a few parties with Simon Green. He's an absolute laugh, to be honest, when he's drunk. And anyway, the hotel is on a forecourt of a massive services, like a big BP. And we walked over there because we're like everything shut up shop. We're like, all right, well, what we're going to do, we'll get in a taxi, we'll go into town, and we'll have some more beers. It's only early. And we went over to there, and I don't know, you know what it's like. It's just mayhem. And we're over there, and someone's buying some, I don't know what they're buying from the services, chocolate or something. I can't even remember, to be honest. And it was a 24-hour services. So it was just a little window in the side of the thing. And I'm sitting there and I'm leaning up. And at this point, I'm pretty drunk. And I'm thinking, I'm not a really good drunk anyway. Like, I'm 3 cans and I'm finished. You know what I mean? And the dumbest thing I've ever done was there was this fire extinguisher. And it was like, it was 1.5 meters tall. I swear to God, it's the biggest fire extinguisher I've ever seen in my life. And I pulled the pin out, and I pulled the pin out, and I remember Dan, my mechanic, looking at me. He's like, I'm out. and he starts walking backwards. And I thought, I'll just give it one little squeeze. That's all I'll do. But I really underestimated the sheer power of this fire extinguisher. Like, honestly, it lit up the whole forecourt. It just covered everything. And the second I pressed it, I immediately regretted it. I thought, oh no, that was so dumb.
And
But
it's a petrol forecourt. That's foam as well, isn't it?
it was. I mean, honestly, it was. It was just no. It was definitely powder.
Oh, was it
And
powder?
yeah, it was powder, and the haze sort of clears up, and I'm like, look. Anyway, I sort of backed right off and got out of there, and then next thing, this figure comes out of the cloud, and it's Simon Green, and I mean, he is top to bottom white, and we top to bottom white, and it's just. But the thing is, he wasn't laughing at me. He was coming at me to strangle and kill me. Like, he did not find it funny. But in the meantime, the taxi's rocked up to go to town, and Glenn's already in it. And then Glenn's like, Ben, get in the taxi. So I got in the taxi because I'm thinking he's going to kill me. Simon's going to kill me. So I got in the taxi, got out of there. Anyway, I realized, I'm like, where are we going, Glenn? He's like, to town. We're all going to town. I'm like, where is everyone? He's like, they're coming. Anyway, get a phone call off Jack Valentine. Ben, where are you? You fucked up. And anyway, so there's police have obviously been called because they get called, don't they? The whole services has to be shut down because now the fire extinguisher's been activated. No one can fill up their car because there's
There's nowhere to put it out.
Yeah. So it's not until after you do something this stupid you realise the consequences. Anyway, police come like half an hour later. They're pulling everyone out of their rooms. Like 15 blokes in the lobby of the hotel. Like, right, who's done it? Who's done it? Anyway, that's when Jack got onto me. He says, "Get back here now." He says, "You're in shit." He says, "You're in big shit." Anyway, I came back to the hotel. Jack's like, right, next morning, long story short, he's had to pay like a €300 fine or whatever it was, and it's all gone away. We're all good. So next morning, I've paid Jack €300 in cash. I said, "There you go, mate. There's me part of the fine. I'm sorry, boss." He's like, "You're an idiot, but I've seen plenty of people do more stupid stuff than that, so you're going to be all right." I said, because I thought I'd lost my job. Honestly, could you imagine first time in the Superbike team, got my chance? I'm thinking, oh, it's over for me. It's all over for me. I was absolutely shaking in my boots. And
You're
Glenn's
a
just
fucking
laughing.
idiot.
Glenn's just like, idiot. You know what I mean? Like, idiot. But anyway, to finish off the story, the next day in the airport, and I hadn't seen Simon Green yet. And I thought, oh, fuck, where's Simon? Like, I was scared to see him. Anyway, I just see Simon coming through the airport. He's making a beeline for me. And his hair is still white. He's still got fully white hair. And I honestly, when I look back at it, it's the most greatest thing ever. And I swear to God, he still hates me for it. It's so funny. But it was such a good trip. But anyway, it was chaos. There was all sorts. Yeah, just typical boys on tour, end of season, Superbike. You know, it's just recipe for disaster. So, and that's
You're going to regret Tomo coming into these comments, aren't you?
Yeah. But look, we give the people what they want. We tell them 70% of the story. It's still a good one.
It's still a good story, mate. It is. That's brilliant. You're an absolute star, mate. Thank you very much. We will be in touch in the week.
Yeah.
Let's see what we can make happen. And you get some rest now and get some sleep.
Yeah, back on the grind tomorrow. So thanks everyone for tuning in, and cheers, Dave, as usual. Appreciate it, mate.
Pleasure, mate. Thank you, everyone, for watching. This has been absolute, mate. You can go if you want, mate. It's fine. I'll do the outro. I don't mind.
Cheers, mate. I'll speak to you in a bit.
See you later, dude. There we go. That's it. We can talk about him now. I can stay on here. We can talk about him now. He's gone. Tomo, thank you for that. Thank you so much for everybody watching. You've been absolutely fantastic as always. Sorry we didn't get to everybody's questions. We tried our best. Jennifer's been doing a fantastic job at the other end of the table. Thank you, my darling. You've done a fabulous job as always. Thank you to Ben and Kirsty and the crisp sandwich. Tomo, thank you to you, mate. Woody, Rick P, all the guys saying thank you very much. The show isn't anything without you, so thank you for all your support. We'll do this again maybe in a couple of weeks. He might be a bit more sober and a little more aware next time. So thank you, everybody. We've got Braden Elliott. He's out now. Make sure you subscribe on the channel before you leave, if you wouldn't mind. Tomo, you need to come on your own at some point, mate. We can talk about that. We'll get you and Dave Hopkinson on. Now, there are some stories. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Braden Elliott's out now. Catch up with him. An incredible story about being diagnosed with type 1 diabetes before the start of this season. And then get that one done. And on Thursday, a fantastic chat with Danny Buchan. On form as always, but very open and honest about his season, how difficult it's been, but with his usual humour and everything else. So I'm really looking forward to that one dropping. That's nearly an hour because Danny Buchan. He can talk for England, that boy. So again, thank you very much. Enjoy that, Woody. Thank you, Harry. Everybody that's joined us tonight. We'll catch up with you soon. Take care, all of you.